Hello, everybody. If it's Saturday and we're live, then that must mean it's Warhammer and a Warhammer reaction show. Joining me, not as always, but I've got a replacement Tom. We've upgraded. It's Ninjon. It's Mr. John Ninas. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for having me. And it only took us so many subtle hints for Tom to finally get the notice.
We don't want you anymore, Tom. No, it's fine. Tom is, he had some family commitments today. I don't know why you'd schedule a family commitment on the day of a Warhammer reaction show. That's bad planning, Tom. It's bad planning.
Right. It's the first thing you check on the calendar, right?
Obviously.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But
that's
hey,
just, it's just poor planning, but thankfully, John, the hero, he was there. He stepped up. He's joining. And we're going to talk about all this stuff, man. Let's do high level. John, what'd you think of everything we saw for AOS today? What do you think of everything?
well, I'm a little bit partial, probably because I was pretty excited. The things that they showed are right in my wheelhouse, so I was pumped. They showed more than I probably had expected. I had expected maybe a little bit less AOS
Right.
and just to sprinkle a bunch around the other games kind of equally, but it really was pretty AOS heavy this morning, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I agree. This was definitely more than I thought. I mean, one thing was, thank you. Finally, we got the Gravelords. Can we all just take a moment to say, we appreciate you finally just revealing this thing we all knew was coming. That it was like the worst kept secret in history, but
Right.
what a reveal! What a reveal! So we got the full ride here. Okay, so let's just get into this, man. Let's rock and roll. I say we just jump into it. So let's start out with the Soulblight Gravelords, the SBGs.
Okay.
Here they are. I'll let the video scroll for a minute while we talk. It's on mute, so nobody we won't
All right.
blow any ears out or anything. I didn't see anything hiding in the background. I scrubbed this video multiple times looking for like anything else hiding back there.
Mhm.
Do they put anything else in? Couldn't find anything. If I missed something, please tell me out there, chat. But yeah,
If
man.
if anything is hidden, it's obscured by all the branches sticking out of the zombies. You can't see through them.
Yes, the zombies themselves are like a forest. They're obscuring, right? Exactly. Yeah, 100%. Okay, so I mean, obviously, there's a lot to break down here, but John, there's only one place we can start with the new Soulblight Gravelords. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Blood Knights to begin, right? I mean, this is the show. This is what we came for, right?
Right. And this is what I thought we were going to see today. I just didn't think we were going to see anything else until they had that little sneaky peek of an outline of what looked like a zombie without a gravestone attached to him earlier in the week. And I'm like, I'm not going to get my hopes up. But this is what we came for. And you were right that the image on the left in the shadow of the triple threat earlier this week was, in fact, that female Gravelord holding the banner on her lance.
Yes. Boom. Yeah, like she's great. I don't know why. Like, whatever. It's fine. There should have been two girl Blood Knights, but
Yeah.
that's fine. They only have one out of the five. It's just like I don't. It's not about like some kind of 50-50 thing. I just really like the sculpt. I just literally think this armor looks really cool in the female armor. Like I've
Yeah.
never truly loved the double clamshell thing,
Right.
right? And the different chest armor actually just breaks it up. So it's nothing more than aesthetics for me. I actually like that form. But still, that's a minor quibble. Banner, incredible. Obviously, this will be one of those prefabricated, you can paint the parts banner. You don't have to freehand this.
Paint by
Right.
number.
Paint
banners,
by
yeah.
numbers. Yes, exactly.
Um, yeah, and so I look at this and I see all the beautiful folds in that banner with that kind of a relief that's put onto it, and I'm
Yeah.
like, man, that's going to be a pain to try to scrape that off. But c'est la vie.
Yeah, exactly. If you like, I it's one of those things where I wish, I doubt they'll do it, but like one of the things I would really love when they do stuff like this is if they had this version of the banner, right? Because like this is valuable to people who obviously not everybody's like confident enough to go in and freehand something like this, right? Totally fair. This would be a big effort. But I wish they had like this version and then a flat version, like a detail-less version. That way, if you did want to freehand or put your own, iconography, if you don't want to be blood dragons or whatever, you can do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're just asking for extra bits. Vince, that's a tall order.
I am asking for extra bits. I am, yes. Cameron Smith said check out 34 seconds into the video. Okay, let's look. He said he sees a guy with a big mace. Let's take a look. Oh yes. Okay, so Blood Knight with a big mace. Yeah, that's interesting because none of the Blood Knights do have maces. It could be. Oh no, this guy has a big mace. It's just
the leader
guy.
does.
Yeah, it's just the leader guy. Yep, it's just this dude. Yep, he's kind of hiding his mace. Yeah.
Yeah, they're giving you the great shot of his face, and with that you get the angle of it. Whatever he's holding doesn't look very obvious, but yeah, that's a big mace.
Yep.
Just like the Vampire Lord, right? Didn't he have a mace like that too? This new, smaller Vampire Lord.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm kind of torn. We were already kind of talking about these things. And one, my score is an 8 out of 10 on these models.
On the Blood Knights.
On the Blood Knights.
Okay.
I think they're great because of what they are.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I don't love them though. I don't get why you have a live horse with a skull head.
I think it's a dead horse. I don't think it's a live horse. It's a nightmare, which has always been this weird, like, undead pseudo quasi thing. Like, I mean, you and I are both D&D players for a long time, so when we hear the word nightmare, we don't think of this, right? We don't think of a skeletal horse. Warhammer's never had a nightmare like I think of a nightmare, like we probably think of a nightmare, right?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, if there was a little, it's just the weirdness is that his face is a completely bleached skull.
Yeah, but everything else looks normal horse. Yeah.
And maybe you're right though. It's not that it's a dead horse. It's that it is a nightmare, and this is what nightmares look like. Okay.
Right.
Okay. I can come around to that a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, the aesthetic on the armor is cool. Like I said, I'm not a giant fan of the clamshell armor either. The heads are awesome though.
They really are.
The heads on these are just across the board awesome. The female's probably my favorite.
Yeah, I love the like swoop of the hair up to one side, right? Like, yeah.
Yep. And on that leader model, these like big nasty reverse wing armor things that are coming up, I dig those.
His back wings or whatever. Yes. Yeah. It's super good. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go 9 out of 10 on these guys. I think they live up to what we wanted to see out of Blood Knights. They're a great reimagining of the old kit. I honestly wish we had a little more of that, a little more flourishy stuff. Like why don't they have super long cloaks billowing out behind them is one thing that occurred to me. That would have really pushed it over the edge for me, right? Something like that I think would have been cool. So, but that being said, these guys are fantastic. John, here we go. Let's call it now.
Points?
How much? Yeah, we'll get there in a second. How much current Blood Knight kit? 5 for $100. Obviously, that kit's retired. It's not actually available anymore, right? But it was 5 for $100. How much, John, is the new kit of Blood Knights?
Okay.
In U.S. dollars.
U.S. dollars. I'm waffling between 60 and 65 for 5.
Okay.
I think it might be 55, but I think maybe I'm being a little bit optimistic if I'm thinking that. Yeah, I don't know. That's where I'm landing. If it's more than $65 for 5, oh God. I'll just get Varangard and then I'll just kit bash my own better than these. So.
I am saying. Well, I mean, you have Varangard at 3 for $100. Somebody pointed out that I think this Blood Knight might actually have the same female armor, so maybe you're right. I did, like the lance is kind of covering the torso plate, so good call. Awesome. There you go.
What do you think?
$75. 75 USD. I'm going for it. I'm going for it. It'll because here's my ultimate belief. they price by points in your army, not by anything else. Okay? So,
Okay.
like, the way that they think about how they price stuff is what percentage of your army are you buying when you buy this kit? All right?
Oh.
And so, like, I fully believe that's how Games Workshop prices things. Because, you know, plastic is plastic, design's design, it's all sunk cost, right? So they've got to think, that's not how they think about things, right?
Yeah.
So, and these guys will still be, like, probably 280, 300 points. You know, they'll be way up there. Okay.
I just looked up how much a box of Black Knights costs, and those are $38. So just double it.
Yeah, because I mean, if you like, you get it cheaper. Like, this isn't a hard and fast rule, but like,
Yeah.
it's one of the reasons giants were so expensive, right? They were like, well, if you could only have, you know, X of them, every one of them is a quarter of your army. We gotta jack that price way up to cover that, right?
So you're saying like there's an algorithm of 2,000 points divided by a percentage of 2,000 points must equal roughly this price range.
Yes.
For a total army size. Okay.
Yes, for the new stuff they do, right? Certain weird legacy models, obviously. Now that's when they make a new thing, is what I'm saying, right? Like, legacy models, stuff like that. They also know that, like, if they had this kit that was $20, sure, they'll inflate it once every 3 years because they track inflation with a third of their range every year or whatever. But like, they can't just take that $20 kit that probably they would price at $45 now and boom, jack it way up, right? They'll have people riot. So they'll move it like 20 to 22 to 25 to 27. Like, it's the creeping advance of time, right? All right.
Yeah.
Blood Knights are great. Let's talk new Skeletons.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you think of the new Death Rattle Skeletons here? Obviously very similar to the Cursed City ones. Yeah. Though not exactly the same. They don't all have the same shimmy shake to them.
Yeah.
Right? Some of them are much more like these two I've got on screen right here. One is kind of tilted, but one is kind of standing straight up with his spear out, right? He's just got a little weird head cock to him.
That's my favorite by far, too. The dude with the spear down his head cocked.
Yeah.
Oh,
he kind of just looks like what's up with you? What's going on, buddy?
Like, seriously? You're going to do this right now?
This is what we're doing?
So they did say that these are going to be options for a sword or a spear.
Yes.
My prediction is this is the same unit that's in the box for Cursed City.
Yeah, I think it's like a subsection, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I think it would be weird when they're so very similar that they would have that be, you know, like Cursed City skeletons and then Death Rattle skeletons. Like, I don't know. I think it would be weird.
They're clearly all the same unit, and it's obvious that aesthetically you can sort of mix and match them, right?
Yeah.
And I'll say, by the by, to me, this is a huge win, because we talked about how one of the problems with some of the Cursed City stuff is it was a little too samey, right? Which, because they're board game stuff, they're all sort of, you know, meant to be feeling the same, a little more like, you know, they want to keep the sprues more simple, blah, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but these guys, clearly they can go bigger. But if you just go get Cursed City and take those 10 skeletons and integrate it into this unit, done. Like, they're going to look perfect, right? No issue. So these are clearly the new skeletons, the new basic skeletons. Like, they will replace the existing skeleton
warriors.
Yes, skeleton warriors. Yes, because they are Death Rattle skeletons.
That's wild that they would replace that kit, which is a solid kit, and it's not that old. It's fine. And I have like 80 of them, so that's why I'm sad. But I don't need to buy all these right away, but I will anyway, because these are superior, not even close. Not even close. I like that if you look at the guy with the banner, I like that it's not a super tall banner.
Right.
Whenever you have the banner, the big super tall banner ones, especially on 25 millimeter rounds, like that dude is just going to fall over 8 times a game. It's because they're so top heavy from that plastic banner waving off, and it's going to sink. So I like this. I like that.
Yeah. The question, John, will be, do they keep these guys on 25s or do they move them to 28s? Won't that be the question?
they look like 25s.
They do look like 25 mil bases. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. But who knows? I mean, when you do this too, you can add a slight scale creep in things too. So these guys are actually probably noticeably beefier than the old skeleton warriors. So maybe the fact that their feet are on the edges of the bases, it still looks in scale with the 28. I don't know. The fact that they're giving you options of sword and spear really makes the spears a much more exciting option if they are on 28s, but we'll see.
Yeah, it'd be a huge change because then you're 80 skeletons. John, you got some work ahead of you, buddy. You got some work ahead of you.
Yeah. Yikes.
And who doesn't love rebasing when you've got tiny, tiny, very fragile feet like skeletons, right?
Oh,
It's fun.
Gosh. I think maybe at that point I just buy another 5 boxes of the Sepulchral Guard and be like, oh, those are on 25s too. Son of a gun.
It is the giant question right now of how much stuff moves to 28s. Like, do they only do it with new things? Because, you know, for example, when they came out with the new Slanesh archers, right, the foot archers, that's a unit that would classically have been on 25s, right? Standard human, little weedy, low armor, normal sized person, foot archer, right? Units on 28s.
The range, though, so I think you get less of an uproar with that.
Sure, because it's new. Nobody had existing Bliss Barb archers, right? Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. I don't know.
If they do start pulling all this to 28s, you're going to have this weird kind of a timeline where certain Horde armies are going to simply be better than newer ones because of the, your Plague Monks are suddenly getting better in the meta, not by changing at all, simply because of the ranks.
Yep.
So.
Yep, it is like this giant proud nail right now in the game that we just can't deal with properly because none of us want to rebase our stuff.
Right.
All right.
Well, and you just rebased a whole bunch of your.
Skaven. I just made more than 325 mil bases for my Skaven, buddy. Yeah, that's right.
28.
Oh boy, wouldn't I hate life? So yes, I feel the pain. Believe me. Let's talk about these new zombies, man. New Deadwalker zombies. Obviously replacing the old zombie kit. Finally, it had a good run. It had a good run.
I'm happy I never bought any of that kit. I held off, kept thinking they were going to bring these back, and finally they did.
Finally they did. These guys are great. Our problem with the Cursed City zombies was, why do all of them have the tombstones on their back, right?
Right.
So then they said, we hear you, and of course here you've got a guy or two with the tombstone aesthetic. Perfect. Because when we said it, it's a cool aesthetic. It should just be 2 or 3 dudes out of the unit. And hey, look, that's what it is.
2 out of 10. I like those odds. And even like the dude that's leaning over, that's got the sword, and he's just kind of getting impaled through with the stake.
Yeah.
Like that, I don't really mind at all. That's kind of unique. It's just the weird, like you buried everybody face down, like 3 inches under the ground.
Yes.
Like, well, you just made these zombies' lives that much easier from rising from the grave because they're right under the ground.
Yeah, people need to really bury your dead deeper, folks. I'll tell you what.
That's your problem.
It's just common sense.
I'm pretty excited about these. They're new zombies. They're little things that I dislike, which is the roots everywhere. But
little sticks. Let's talk about sticks, man. How do you feel about the roots coming out of these guys?
It's just going to mean another 2 hours per block of 40 that I'm going through and snipping off sticks. Is what that means for me. And because they're zombies, I don't think this is a major killer for me because you can add gore and gunk, or even just snip it, file it really quick, add some grossness there, and you'd never know, I think.
I agree. Like, it would be, this is so easy to fix. And for me, I'll tell you what this is the equivalent of, John. You know that aesthetic that they use sometimes of, like, the skull pimples in the flesh of Chaos dudes, where they'll have, like, their flesh, just like a skull randomly popping out of their flesh?
Yes.
Right? Like, Dorgar has this. A couple other models have this. I can think of few aesthetic choices I've hated more in all of the history of Warhammer than that. Okay? It drives me insane. I hate it. Hate it. Okay? But I've never not bought a model because of it. Like, I've done 2 Archeons, and you know what I did both times? I cut off the raised part, I sanded it a little bit, I put some putty over the top, done. Like,
Never
and then it
did
was
see
just a
that.
smooth part of skin. You don't see it. Like, it was very quick and easy, right? And these little roots, you don't even have to go that far, because I was trying to make smooth skin. Here, just like you said, I think your point is so well stated. You could just, like, cut these down, or even, like, just, you know, cut them out, or put a little piece of extra thing hanging off the edge, and then, ta-da, they're just guts hanging out, or bits hanging out, or muscle structure, or goop, right? Like, yeah. They're dead people with dead stuff hanging off of them. That's what zombies have.
It's another great use for sprue goo too, right? You just snip it and then put a little sprue goo there, and it'll be smooth as much as you need.
Done and dusted. So yeah, these guys are great. And again, I think like this is one of those units that like they got the mix right on. I like all the different weird weapons, like dude with a scythe, dude with a shovel. You know, somebody actually has a real sword. You know, like just it's a really nice mix of poses and weapons and things going on. So, yes.
I do have a follow-up question to something you brought up earlier in regards to zombies. Okay. The pricing kits based on points in the army.
Yeah, sure.
That doesn't work with these, because these are going to be like 60 points for 10, and you know damn well it's not going to be $14 for a box of 10 of them. It's going to be 30.
Well, here's 35. My question. Do they come in boxes of 10?
Yeah, that would sure be swell if they came in 20. Chain rafts do come in 20s, I think, now, don't they?
There are boxes of 20s. Right?
I was just thinking of newer stuff, if they've done that with newer stuff.
Yeah. Ooh. So I think that's how they get around this, because it'll probably be still a unit like that is bought in 20, 40, 60. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Instead of like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Like or 10, 20, 30, 40. Like it'll probably still be, it's in that rarefied category of units that can go to 60 models.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And so I would say they'd probably still put him out in 20s.
Yeah.
Right. And then they'll make it 20, 40, 60 be the unit purchase. So there you go.
I hope you're right. I don't have any faith that you are, but I hope that you're right.
I'm going to put my money down now. These come in boxes of 20. And like as people have pointed out, more tech come in boxes of 20. As many people have said in the comments. So there you go.
Okay, and the last kit of Deadwalker Zombies did come in 20s as well. $38 for 20. So, okay, I'm with you.
So there'll be a slight upgrade. We'll be talking about 20 of them for like 45.
Yep. Or 50. I'd do that all day. I'd pay 45 for 20 of these things.
Yeah. That seems reasonable. That's what I'm thinking. I think they'll, because again, I fully believe they price on points. I agree with you. They'll still be cheap, right? Like these are still going to be cheap because they are what they are, right? They're meant to be just like the shambling hordes, right? And I just think they'll make them 20, 40, 60 in the new book. That'll be the way that you roll them out, because they're meant to just be these big, chaffy, ridiculous hordes of dudes, right?
Yes. Yeah, I'm all for that. I want every inch of this board.
Yeah, just
you can have none of it.
Just zombies just spreading out everywhere, right? There's something compelling about that sort of that aesthetic, right? The zombies just flooding out everywhere.
Right. And if they're cool looking zombies, all painted, ooh baby, I'm in for that. That's gonna be it's gonna be a fun video. John paints 120 zombies.
Yeah, that video right there. That writes itself, buddy. We're like every one of us who makes YouTube videos is like painting stuff. The week these guys come out are just like how to paint 120 zombies in 2 hours. Video makes itself.
Right? Yeah. All you need is two cans of rattle can spray paint. You're done. You can do it all. Yeah, I'm looking forward. And then we did see a bit of a reveal on the rules of some of the Curse City characters this week, and we saw that what I can't remember what his name was, but the like the head graveskeeper or whatever.
Yes.
He can. They didn't show his rule, but
then they said he can summon zombies.
He can summon zombies. So
Yes.
come on, baby. Let's give us some free 60 packs. Come on, we can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that dude is great. And yes, I love the idea that with him or something like that, you could have a zombie focused army, right?
Yes.
That we actually have tools where we could do the zombie horde as an army concept, because that actually was traditionally like not something that was very easy to do in most editions. Not always. There's some editions where it was cool, but it's never been a thing. So I'm glad to see that, like with heroes meant to work with zombies. Yes, thumbs.
Yeah.
All right, now we got to talk about these boys. By the way, John, can't leave them behind. Let's talk about them bats. Them
all right,
bats.
we're talking about the best model revealed today.
Yes.
Is creepy Daddy Bat looking for his creepy sons.
This guy over here.
That's right. He's creeping across a rock looking for his creepy sons that are creeping across other rocks in the bat swarms in the Curse City box.
Yes.
That dude is the best.
Love the new fell bats, and I love that we've got bat swarms in Curse City and new fell bats here. We got the new, and the obviously my favorite picture is when I had all you guys over and everybody did the bat stance where everybody was doing the various bat poses for the bats. So yes, all about these fell bats. Like, it's great that we'll get all the new bat models will be there. What we didn't see, no wolves. John,
No wolves.
Are we getting new dire wolves as well?
No, we are. We're getting new dire wolves. I put my lunch money on it that we're getting new dire wolves for sure. They have it in the cover of the box. There is a dire wolf, and that old kit is derpy as heck. And I don't think it's available right now anymore. Actually,
there you go. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Right, like John's point is, we'll scan down to the book here. Why? What do we have here next to the vampire? But a little wolfy boy. The vampire has his best boy, his friend here. Got a good boy. And we did not see a new direwolf kit. I agree with you. I think they sat on it. It didn't show up in the video. But yes, because can we just get a new direwolf kit so we can all stop using Forensian wolves or Lord of the Rings wolves, which is all I've ever seen used as direwolves ever.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I've got a couple of units of those painted up with the Fenrisian wolves, and they're nice. You have to paint them basically just like dark evil wolves with glowy eyes, and they work, but it's not the same. It's not the same.
Right. So yes, let's just get. And by the way, if it looks like this dude, look at this wolf with his open jaw, right? Like the bottom of his jaw. Yeah, exactly. What an awesome kit if this art just becomes a kit,
Yes.
Yeah, that's sweet. Yes, please.
I mean, I would love it if they were like that, a little bit, maybe even a little bit bigger, a little bit scarier, meaner looking, and make them reflect that in the rules a little bit, because they have their purpose currently, but they're really just, they die to a stiff breeze. They can just move. They can move pretty quick, but I'd like them to be a little bit beefier. We got plenty of chaff for that other purpose, but. I'll say about the bats, I was a little bit surprised because they have been kind of so far removed off the radar of death for forever of bats. One, being used in the game really, but two, just the models were so out of date. They didn't even really attempt to reprint them for purchase.
Yeah.
It was just not even an option. So they bring them both back. Exciting. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with that from a game perspective, if they're basically going to fill the same role or not. I like the swarms for their ability to make it harder to shoot through them, which is nice.
Yes, what role do these bats play? This has been a classic challenge with the Legions of Nagash, right? Because they've got so many legacy units. It's what actual role are all the things in this army playing? And it feels like what you would want these fell bats to be is super fast, engaging chaff, right? Flying, engaging chaff. But then, and sure, the little bat swarms are just stuff meant to literally hang out in your army and be a debuff to things like shooting. If they get those rules right, then they could be really useful. I hope they do. Obviously we're going to see new scrolls. And so Just real quick here at the bottom, they have this text. You can find all the war scrolls for these new units in the Soulblight Gravelords Battle Tome, SPG, packed with updated lore, battle plans, and more. It's stuffed bursting with a wealth of contents for Nagash's Undead Legions too, so budding Generals of Death Grand Alliance definitely won't want to miss it. After all, Kritza the Rat Prince isn't the only vampire setting forth in search of victims. Dun dun dun! So we've got obviously, Kritza, who we had seen before, the rat vampire. We've got the generic vampire lord they showed in the video. So, John, that leads me to the question. We've got this vampire lord on Zombie Dragon back here in the background of the picture. This is the question, John. Are we going to retire a relatively new kit that is in use in multiple ways across the armies, right? Because that's where you get the FEC boss as well, right?
Yep.
And actually get a new vampire lord on Zombie Dragon? Are we getting a new big model like that? Or is this going to be a release without a big centerpiece?
I think recent history has showed us the value that GW is placing in centerpiece models and armies.
Yep.
And so it would surprise me if they just nixed that old kit. It wouldn't surprise me if we have a new big named hero on one that's a brand new kit. So we've seen it obviously going back to Catacross, but obviously Lumineth Realm Lords have theirs, the new Be'lakor. We're seeing their kind of, and I know these things sell like crazy. So it's $365 for them to print this. I think they will. I think it will be, they have the article from the lore perspective about Manfred just this week.
Yep.
So I was a little bit nervous that is that their thing? They're going to push Manfred is the big named character through this army. But now I'm kind of thinking maybe not. That picture of that vampire on Dragon looks so cool. We need that.
So let me suggest to you an alternative. Do you remember the old vampire lord on Abyssal Terror that was from way back? Okay.
Yep.
What if, as a new big centerpiece model, instead of retiring a perfectly functional kit, right, that they still want to use, what if we keep that kit? Okay, we keep that there. It's still there. We've still got the Velazda. He's around. Prince Vorderai is still around, right? All the vampire lord on Zombie Dragon action you've come to know and love remains.
Yeah.
But we get a new reimagining of a vampire lord on Abyssal Terror as well. Like a different kind of big flying monster.
Yeah. I think that's probably best case scenario, and I'm all for that. More options, more better, right?
Right.
I want to keep my old stuff, and I think they don't retire that kit. I think they think that's too silly to do that. You're better off giving us something else you need to buy in addition.
Yeah, absolutely. Why retire a thing and make you replace it, which will possibly make you angry, when we can just give you a second thing that you'll want to add to your army, right?
And then if you're new to this army, maybe you want both. So now we're selling the old kit and the new kit. So.
Exactly. That feels more reasonable to me, right? So, and some 93 Nordo said, Abyssal Terrors are smaller, though. No. Abyssal Terrors were smaller, though, is the correct answer there, my friend. Things get bigger. Have you seen old Sigvald versus new Sigvald? He got bigger. He done got big. Okay.
Or old Be'lakor versus new Be'lakor.
Old Be'lakor versus old Be'lakor was a little tiny baby.
Yeah.
He real big now. So how big something was doesn't mean how big something is, especially when it's a big centerpiece thing like that. John, can we geek on a painting thing real quick here that probably the audience won't pick up on, but I noticed? Okay.
Go for it.
Okay. How fantastic is the lighting on that vampire? I've been obsessed with it since they revealed this image. So it's an underlit warm light, right? Yeah. With an extremely hard primary cold light. And look how primarily strong that cold light is. It's turning the red armor blue. Notice that? This is the other side of the armor, and it's pure blue. Yeah, it doesn't show any of the red still.
That stark moonlight that is just a beam is shot right down across his left side, while still showing that nice warm red right towards you. This is amazing. I was like, wow, this is how I want to paint that armor right
Yes,
there.
I'm trying to think, like, if you did that in reality. By the way, the cast shadow and stuff too, and obviously like
Yeah.
we talk about all the time about on both of our channels about volumetric highlighting and how like the details that are far away from the focal point of the model can be less highlighted. And like, look at the legs, look how little highlight there is down here, right?
Yep.
There's barely any detail picked out. But like, I have to picture painting this model in reality, where literally like half of the model is just blues, and half of the model is red, and like, would it sell in reality?
Yeah.
I don't know. So
I've done something similar when I painted a Kingdom Death, the lion, the white lion.
yeah,
Where
yep.
he's walking into a warm light, but then over his rear shoulder was that bright, almost that same blue. And it actually is not too difficult. You basically base coat the whole thing in like the red in this case, and then you just airbrush from your stark direction and just shoot it at that one angle.
Yeah.
And then just go about your painting as usual, and just build up the blues there. I think it's doable. Now, if you're going to do this same kind of thing across, again, those 120 zombies as well.
That might be a bit much.
I mean, if you're going to get some Best Painted awards, I'll tell you that.
There you go. But yeah, beautiful book. Can't wait. Let's get the SBGs out here right away. By the way, I'm calling that their acronym is SBG. I don't want to see SG. It's SBG, Soulblight Gravelords. So let's get that all locked in our heads. SBG. So there we go.
Okay. All right. I'll stock that away. Now something else came that is more question marks than answers.
Oh,
I'll let
John.
you kick this off, Vince.
Let's do it, buddy. Let's do it. Here we go. So I need to mute the video, and let's give that a play. This is not what I was expecting. As this is playing, let's just talk. We know Broken Realms 2 is coming next week, Techless, going on pre-order next week. They did confirm that in the video. So Broken Realms 2 Techless going on pre-order next week, which means we have 2 weeks in a row of pre-orders. So maybe we're getting back to a weekly schedule. Maybe we're finally ironing it out. And
Ooh.
We know book 3 is Be'lakor. We've already seen the book, right? We saw the cover. Mm-hmm. They previewed that. Looks fantastic. Okay. And now we've got Broken Realms Kragnos. I'm sorry, who?
Kragnos. Oh.
Okay. So John, which let's go. I used him this shot like here in the cover of the video. Who's Kragnos, John? Any thoughts?
I have only a 20-second video to go by.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
All right. To me, he looks like a Shaggoth, but
missing the front claws.
Yeah, it feels destruction-y at first. When it first started and they show this, I was like, oh my gosh, they're bringing Kurnothi. This is the entrance to Kurnothi. And then when it unfolded and talking about his people are gone, I was like, gosh, I don't really know. It sounds more destruction-y to me. Mm-hmm. So that's where I went towards the Beastman Shaggoth side, but I'm completely at a loss exactly. I need to examine that visual of what he looks like, because he does have horse hooves.
He does. Okay, do you want to know who this guy is?
All right, tell me.
This is a destruction. This is so easy to read, and everybody wants this to be like a big Shaggoth, like a Beastman thing or a Kurnoth thing. It's not. It's just big Chaos thing or like a big Chaos Beastman thing or a big Order thing. It's not. It's a Destruction God Beast. Okay. And he says, if you listen to his words in the video, okay, he says, I awoke from my mountain and found that my people were gone. Okay, what mountain did he wake up from?
I don't know. Mount Doom.
Beastgrave.
Oh, of course.
Which is in Gur.
Mm-hmm.
Which is where all of the destruction people currently are.
Yes.
Which is where the Big Wa is getting called by some force that Gordorak can't fathom. Okay?
I guess we know what that force is now.
Correct. It's Kragnos. Like, that's what this guy is. He's, like, destruction famously is one of the forces that lacks a god figure. Right? Actually present in the world to lead them. Like, I'm not, like, Gork and Mork are off doing whatever they're doing. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
being sometimes one person, sometimes two people, whatever. Now, I'm not saying they're not there. They're just there. They're around. But they lack a Marathi, Alariel, Nagash, blah, 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 right?
Right. Yep.
On the table. And so, and everything that that Gordorak and the Destruction is calling says they need some new god to call out to, right? That's who this guy is. He's like a god beast of the realm of beasts, so he's like a mega god beasts, right? God beast. And he's going to show up out of Beastgrave. Like he is the animating force of the mountain, right? He's what made it what it was, right? And he's going to wake up out of the mountain and be like, and that's why he says all his people are gone, right? Because obviously it's Beast Grave. He's dead.
The answer's in the title.
Yeah. And so he shows up, finds that, you know, the thing where he was all dead, and he's a big destruction boss. And he's going to be a big, giant destruction god beast who, like, because remember, destruction's the most united force right now, right?
Right.
And so that's what he's going to be. There you go. You can either agree with me or find out I'm right in a couple months. Those are the choices I'll give you.
So does that mean that he's in almost a Gotrek-like in rules, and that he is takeable in any destruction force?
Who knows? Who even knows? Maybe that's the kind of thing he is. Maybe he's like, maybe he's like a super god where he's like Gotrek, you know, for Order, where you can like take him in all of the different stuff, right?
He's considered an ally. Is not points restricted on ally stuff, so he doesn't get the benefits. Yeah, I could see that. Otherwise, the haves and the have-nots in destruction, in being able to take him makes it interesting.
Yeah, I assume he could probably just slot into any destruction army, but who knows, right? And you know, that's what he's going to be, this big giant new god beast sort of thing of destruction. So yeah, there you go.
So that book then, I'm looking at,
and that'll be the destruction book, by the way. Like if you think about the order of things that are going on, like obviously that book were timed for the destruction book.
Right. Yes. Okay. So then that allows them to slot him in there in all of that destruction focused work pretty easily, pretty seamlessly, in addition to other additional stuff they're going to do for destruction. Okay. Yeah. All right.
I'll sell you further. I'll sell you further on why I'm right. Okay. I mean, I'm right, but it's cool. Okay, AOS 3, we know it's coming this year. It's starter box. What's the obvious thing that the starter box is going to have in it? Because
Stormcast.
And
some bad guy.
Some destruction. Because we had chaos, then we had death. Now everybody knows we need destruction. Right? So if you're going to make destruction the main enemy in the relaunch of the edition, then there's got to be something to precipitate that. Right?
Sure. They
don't just like, you're not just going to throw it in because it's fun. Things are narratively driven now. They want to have excuses. Okay?
Yep.
So that means that they need some big thing to precipitate destruction becoming the new threat. Releasing their big giant god beast out into the world would precipitate that. So Broken Realms 4 will lead directly into AOS 3, probably about the same time. There you go. So, there you go.
So, what I'll say is this. We're going to get Squig Pigs in that starter box.
Oh, we're going to talk about them Squig Pigs, even though that's a 40K thing, because I'm excited about them. But yeah, so that's this dude. This is all my call. I don't think I'm wrong. So, there we go.
All right, Babe Ruth, call your shot. I think it's good.
There you go. Like I said. No, Keith, sadly, I had to retire the Skaven idea. I wish it would have been. That's how I would have done it, but all signs point to big bad voodoo daddies and destruction. So, there you
go. Okay. I'm curious of what that actual army is going to be. It might be Bone Splitters. He fits really well, kind of with what we're learning so far with the Bone Splitters theme, too.
Yeah, I don't know. As far as like what the what destruction they put in there, maybe it's kind of a mix of all because he draws it together. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's something new. Maybe it's like Iron Jaws. Maybe it's who knows. I don't know.
Oh.
I have no clue. Right. So, yeah. Kragnos. There you go.
One more AOS related thing for today.
The whole like. By the way, the ending text here is a realm quakes, a god wakes, right? Which just very much aligns with all of the destruction stuff they've been doing as far as Gur and the big destruction Wa and stuff like that. So
I feel like we're going to hear that word quake again in some other rhymey scheme of a naming of something. Like
yeah, sure.
The Quake Lords.
Yep.
I don't know. It's a good word. It's a funny word. I like it.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right. Okay. Now, John, we come to something that I'll let the video play. I got to mute it out here. But I'm curious. You're a boner boy. You got them boner boys. You're in for boner boys. So you have a bone daddy army. So what did you think of these new guys? What do you think of the new Underworlds OBR models?
Yeah, I mean, if you're in for a tarsal, you're in for a femur. So I guess I'm in.
Sure.
And so I both love this and hate this at the same time.
All right.
The leader dude is awesome. He's so awesome.
Mir Kanan or whatever his name is. Yeah.
Yes, Kanan, which is a great name too. And then they just were like, let's throw 5 more Tech Guard in here. And I'm just like, come on, give me a little something to work with here. They're slightly more unique poses, but I'd throw them on the board and I wouldn't even know what they were other than the dude with the bow. The dude with the bow is great. I want a whole box full of these guys that I can take as a unit, but we all know that's not going to happen. So I don't know. I was a little bit disappointed when I was excited to see what the rest of his warband was going to look like based on how awesome he looked.
Right.
And I just kind of was deflated, and it was just 5 more Tech Guard.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you've got the Aussie Archer Longboneman, as we've said. That's his official name. Okay, so, John, should this herald a release for you of OBR2 Boner Boogaloo, where you get entire Archer units?
From a balance standpoint in the game, that's not a smart move.
I appreciate your honesty.
I can sit there and not die unless I let Vince throw 3 megas into my face, which I did, and you wiped the floor with me. But if I can sit back and just unleash arrows on you, that's not a fun game. It's not a fun game.
If you've got catapults and archers and suddenly become like a true ranged power.
Yeah. Yeah, I can foresee I take a couple of giant blocks of more Tech Guard, a couple of giant blocks of archers, maybe even just 1, and then a catapult or 2, and a couple of Death Riders to swing around at like 18-inch move to grab objective after I just peel you off the table. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty non-interactive game right there.
Well, yes, and as somebody pointed out, I was going to mention that. Yes, they do actually say. I'll scan up here because yes, there's a nice size comparison, so you can see just how big Mir Kanan is or whatever. Like he is a big boy. We had looked at him and said this guy's probably really big, like, and oh my goodness, is he big? Like the main dude is amazing.
Yeah, he's probably taller than like their forearm guys, the Stalkers. Which is impressive because those are pretty big models. He's probably stands another head taller than them.
Yeah, he's big. The regular guys are obviously just clearly more tech-sized. And they did tease at some point they don't have this unit yet. That was literally something that was teased there of the archers. So, or they use weapons that they don't have access to yet.
Well, you just got to take this one guy, send him back to the home base,
right?
Have him train everybody.
Like, here's what I think. Okay, here's the headcanon, right? Okay, this guy right here that's on screen, this archer dude, like a couple of the souls that got stuck in him were archers, right? And so he just one day went, wait a minute, what if I just like what if we just like made a bow? Because they talk in we's, right, when they talk, because they're we or whatever. What if we just made a bow? And then he goes out, he gets some bones from the bone mason, right? He makes up some arrows, and then he just like shows up to work with this weapon.
They're all like, what?
What are you doing? And he's like, no, this is better. Look. And then he just like shoots something, and they're like, whoa. Whoa. Revolution happens in the technology of the OBR legions. They're like, this guy, he's got an idea. Get him up there. You know.
Get him up to Caddy Crows.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got 750,000 souls here in this army. Just there's one of them that was an archer.
Right, just by happenstance, they had only picked people who were like pikemen and spearmen and stuff like that up to this point.
Up till now.
Yeah, just random chance, you know.
I envision he's just walking out in the desert one day, and there's just like a skeleton of a triceratops, and this is just like a triceratops hip bone or something. He's like,
sure.
hold on. And he just remembers. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. There you go.
I don't even need a bowstring.
If we get bow OBR, if we get bow daddies, at some point, right? Then the call for chariots is going to be deafening.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the inevitability, because people will then be like, "We're 1 unit away, boys.
We're almost there."
Yeah, from like the core of what Tomb Kings were.
Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah.
I will say it would be kind of weird if they were to just throw this one thing in there and then never revisit it. It's almost like we're just gonna give you a little taste. We've already done all the sculpting to show how to make a bone bow. We might as well.
Right. We got one. Just run it another couple hundred times. Yeah.
We have the technology for bow BR.
Yeah, I like David Campbell in the chat who said Sigmar stole all the archers for shoot cast lists. It's why there's no skeleton archers. Yeah, that makes sense. That checks out. Yep.
It's just a game of kickball where they're picking sides, and he just grabs all the archers.
Yeah, he's just real quick. Archer. Those are all mine. Those are mine now.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'll buy this, and I hope it's actually it's a rarity, but I hope it's actually a good unit in the army for Age of Sigmar. I have a little bit of hopes, especially since there's a name dude attached to it as one of those.
Yeah.
Where it's like man in his squad kind of things. That means you can only take one of these in your army. I hope it has some good assets to the army that don't currently exist.
Yeah, if he is a good hero that has like a good command ability, that's all you need, right? Because these guys get picked when they have like either a good spell, so like Grashrak, right, who has this good universally interesting spell, or whatever. Like if there's just like if the capability they bring is such that they can basically perform something that you would want in the army anyways, and you can get them for about the same price as getting the hero, like then okay, right? Or if they have something slightly unique, like if he's a good hero. And like there are multiple good Underworlds warbands. It's the rarity, it's the minority, but it exists, right? Like there's Grashrak, there's the Morgwaith, right? In the dock. Probably a couple others I'm not thinking of, but you know, there's not many, but there are a few.
No, isn't the Beastmen one?
Yeah, that's Grashrak.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because he has like just a generic +1 to hit spell that he can fire off.
Here's a new design space that I would love to see them work with. Here is the problem with hero on foot. It's not of monstrous size. Is that they strictly just tend to underperform in this game. But if he can put out respectable damage, maybe give some kind of benefit to those around him or even his squad in general, but he strictly has the extra boost of hit points and defenses of chewing through the dudes with shields.
Right.
He suddenly becomes something that we can have a kind of a single model hero actually be good on the table because he's surrounded by his bag of hit points.
Yeah, exactly. If he's got those ablative wounds. Yeah, yeah. Yep, I agree. To me, the like it's he is a super striking character, and it's like it this whole warband's going to turn on him. That's it. Right? Like that's it. If the hero's good, which model-wise he's great. He's amazing. If he actually gets some rules, then you're going to see this guy showing up. So, okay.
Yeah. If he's got like 5 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1 rend, 3 damage.
Yeah, he'll have 3 damage attacks just to further hurt my soul about giant club damage. That stupid little axe is going to do more damage than my giant clubs just to further punish my soul.
Yeah, this 30-foot club that's 6 feet around.
Still going to be damage too. But disapproving Axeman here, he'll have a 3 damage chopper. Yep.
Right. You don't want him to, like, the thing is, if he chops in the middle of that axe, there's a big circle. He could just, like, miss you. That sounds like a D6 damage to me.
All right. So then there was all the 40k stuff, which obviously we're not going to talk about in tremendous detail because this is more we do AOS here. But, you know, it is what it is. These little Cawdor dudes, these guys look cool. There's a lot of them that would make fun little AOS conversions or could be cool stuff. Like, they're neat. If we ever get the Order of Aesir, like Flagellants and you know, religious fanatics, then yeah, I'm all about these guys. You can go and steal them and just take their gun hands off and put in like flagellant weapons, and boom bang, you got a winner on your hands. So that's fine. You know, they're cool.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about Order of Aesir, but they are a great kind of canvas for those, for sure.
Yeah, if we ever get that army, which we should get, like that should happen, then that'll happen, right? Then that's an easy. These are just conversion fodder ready to happen for that army.
I wanted to touch on something just real quickly.
Yeah.
If you look at the what's in the box picture.
Yes.
In the middle of the right, it says 25 barricades and objectives. I could be wrong here, Vince, but it looks like the old Games Workshop painting crew might have been using a little bit of oils or enamels in this weathering here.
Oh, it's hard to say.
That doesn't look to me just like strictly acrylic paints put on like they typically do their rusty doors and stuff. But
sure.
I could be wrong, but man, there's ways that stuff is collecting and streaking down that I'm thinking they might be innovating here.
Well, it could also be done by the Forge World team, because a lot of this stuff gets done by them, or Specialist Games team, whatever they're called now. And that team does do a lot more weathering and the traditional like scale model weathering stuff. So
that would make more sense.
So there you go. But yeah, I'm all for it. Let's have everything not look like it just rolled off the assembly line. Yeah. So Skitarii guy, that's cool. Adeptus Mechanicus, cool book. I don't really care too much. Neat tank. I like tanks. Tanks are cool. Sisters are cool.
Pretty cool tank.
Sister tanks are cool. Yeah, cool looking tank. Good animation for it as always. I like the stained glass thing they've been using for the Sisters animations. I think that's a good look. So yeah, big giant tank. Cool. Right on. And then we get these guys. So this was a really fun video. I like the cave drawing thing with the orcs. But let's talk about my new unit of Gore-gruntas.
Exactly.
Just how excited I am about these guys.
And how little work it would actually take to turn these into Gore-gruntas. Like, there's very few bits that you have to completely overhaul and take off.
Yeah, exactly. Like, these guys are ready to go. Armor plates look fine. The orc itself is fine. Like, there's basically, like, maybe the little goblin dude needs a different weapon. And
that's it.
I think that's it. Like, this is like, hello, new Ironjawz Gore-gruntas. Like, absolutely.
And you even have his shoulder pad and some of the little armor bits on the Squig Pig that you just paint in your existing army color scheme for all the armor. And you're good. Yeah,
these dudes look like, the Squig gruntas, the Squig Pigs, however you want to say it. these guys are awesome. I saw this and I was like, oh my god, I'm so excited for this, because is the question is, can you ever have too many Gore-Gruntas for your Ironjawz army? And the obvious answer is no. I've already used other models before. Like some of my Gore-Gruntas are on the birds,
Yes.
the big burbs from the Vanguard wing of AOS or whatever, from the Stormcast. And so I love mixing up different mount types, of this kind of stuff. I think it's fun to have different mount types as your mounts in AOS, because that's what the Mortal Realms brings us. When you look at the art of the Mortal Realms, and it shows up in a lot of the books or in Soulbound, people are always writing like weird, crazy things, right? And we just like, that's what we need. I like that. That's one of the cool things to me, right? So yes, this dude is sweet. He is going to be a Gore-Grunta, and Haywo said the mount needs more armor, the orc needs more armor, base needs more armor, weapon needs more armor to be a good Ironjaw. You may be right there. Fortunately enough, I do have some extra orc plates because of things I've used. So I have like from bits and stuff I've collected. So it'll be very easy for me to slap some extra orc Ironjaw shoulder pads and stuff like that on him, and we're ready to rock. So.
In the video, some of them looks like they have like robot legs, so you might have to get a little creative there.
Fortunately enough, if you ever collected brutes, okay, you got peg legs that you may or may not have used. I never used the peg legs on my brute, so I got a bunch of extra wooden peg legs.
Boom. You got the tripod. The Squig Pig tripod is going hard.
There you go. So yeah, I'm excited. I haven't like, oftentimes I'll say like, oh, that's a cool 40k model that you could sort of convert and bring in, but I don't usually want to go through the effort because it's not for an army I love. But in this case, I'm like, nope, I'm in like these guys. This is great. We're fine.
Yeah, and they did in that the kind of the wall painting stuff. They had a lot of very distinct looking models or drawings of models on there that this isn't going to be. It's going to be a whole tribe. So
yep.
I'm in for that.
Yeah, the all sort of, I think there you go, when you get the Squig Pig riders and all that kind of stuff. So very fun. Yeah. So that's kind of it. It was a good reveal show today. We got some fun stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm jazzed about it. I think that there's a lot of good stuff coming. I'm excited about them Soulblight Gravelords. I probably won't get the army. I was hoping for it to be all vampires.
Yeah,
but
there's still time, Vince. There's still time for more.
I'm not writing off. I said probably. You could see. We'll see what happens. You never know. It's okay if I don't I will end up having a death army out of this, John, because if the Soulblight Gravelords don't grab me, then it's just going to be smash bat all day, right? And I've got the new Varglic or whatever he's called to be my smash bat model. So
the strictly superior model for the smash battery that needs to happen.
So a death army comes out of this one way or another. So I'm happy camper. That'll be a great project. Excited for Kragnos and what he's going to bring to the destruction world. And the Gravelords, cool model. That's what I'll say there.
Once again, another reveal show went by without giving us a damn release date for the Cursed City.
Yeah.
I'm thinking they're going to probably try to have that release date close to when they want to have Soulblight Gravelords, probably within a month of each other, maybe even, because they're so tied together from a perspective of rules. Maybe I'm just being optimistic, or I just assumed by now we'd have that release date. But
it feels like they've got to be kind of close, right? Yeah. And by that I mean, in my mind, the Cursed City is probably April, right? Mm-hmm. That we know Techless is next week. I'm thinking probably April. It's a lot of boxes, probably mid-April, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because they want to get enough volume out there. I hope they printed enough of this. I hope they had to realize Cursed City is going to sell like gangbusters. Had to, right?
Yes. Gosh, I hope so. If that's a pain to get.
Yeah, that will make me very sad.
Yeah.
So I assume like early to mid-April for Curse City, and then probably May, right? For because with Broken Realms Techless going on pre-order next week, one assumes that the rest of the Lumineth stuff will be not far behind.
Yep.
Right. So like you're gonna get, because obviously that's gonna have a bunch of rules for Lumineth stuff. So if Broken Realms Techless goes on pre-order next week, either that means the rest of the Lumineth do at the same time, or they're like the week after. Right? They're not gonna be like, hey, here's a bunch of new Lumineth rules. Now wait a month and a half. One would hope.
Well,
To get to actually play them.
If we've learned anything about the release schedule of Lumineth Realm Lords, it's that we know nothing.
It's that we know you know nothing. Yes, I do agree. I've said that before, and they really thrown me for a loop with Lumineth. It's been a weird army in its release schedule. The Lumineth have eaten the sort of pandemic problem worse than any other army. So
yeah, they sure have. But
yeah, so I'm hoping for Gravelords being like an early to mid-May release. That would make sense. Like basically a month away from Curse City, which seems fine, right?
Yes.
You can get your Curse City, you can get painting. Like there's plenty of stuff in there to keep you busy until like over a month, and then boom, drop the new SPGs, and you're good. You're good.
And you get some time with your the new Underworlds vampire team too.
Yes.
Those will come first.
Yep.
And so I decided the magic number is 3. I'm ordering 3 boxes of those vampires because there's no way I'm not going to find awesome uses for them in that army, or just to paint, or for competition painting, or whatever.
Absolutely.
I need those vampires in multitudes.
Yeah, box of Vampire Lord characters seems like a pretty good box.
Right.
Yeah.
I even envision, because I have a second of the Mortark kits that I'm going to kit bash the actual steed. And I'm like, I want to kit bash a Manfred standing on like the back of it, not on a stupid saddle, just standing there because he's a vampire. He doesn't need a saddle.
Right.
And so I use one of those, like the big dude with the holding the big hammer, put a big sword in there instead, and Manfred head on there. Whew, I got plans.
I mean, when you look at the next 3 months, like Q2 into like maybe early July, it is packed, homie.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The Underworlds warbands that we've talked about, like the vampires and the everything else, right? The lizards and so on, that just came out and so on. You've got Curse City. You've got the Lumineth Part 2. You've got 3 Broken Realms books we know about. You've got AOS 3. You've got the Gravelords. Like, holy Moses. This is going to be an intense Q2 for AOS, for sure. Prepare your wallets.
They're like, okay, we have Indominus last year. How do we try to stay on board for our board of directors?
Right. I know, we release just everything. Just for AOS.
And that's just what we know about. There's stuff that we don't even know about yet that's going to probably be end Q2, early Q3 too. So, oh boy.
Yeah, it's going to be a big couple months. Big couple months. Just got to get finished painting my Slaanesh stuff, and then I'll be good to go. All right. Well, John, thank you so much, buddy. This was great. Appreciate you hanging out with me.
Thanks for having me. I'm sure we'll do it again once we get the Soulblight Gravelords book in hand. I'll be back to show you.
You will be back. You will be back.
Dominate your big stupid giants with my vampires.
I look forward to being bogged down in stupid zombies and skeletons that have too many numbers for my low damage army to kill. It'll be a great time.
Yes, I'm going to have a list where it's all minimum unit size, about 17 units of 10 zombies. You just have to go through them one at a time.
Yes, I look forward to that nightmare. For all of you out there watching, thank you so much. Give it a like if you didn't already. Liking it helps other people find the reaction show and other people find the channel. It's so easy to do. You just click a button. And we thank you for it. Look how simple that is. Obviously, subscribe if you haven't already. But John, thank you again. Thank you. If there's anything you feel like we missed or you're excited about, drop that down in the comments below. But as always, guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next time.